Hi guys, it's Katie here with Life in the Mundane, and I know that the Christmas season's over, the new year is coming, and it's time to start talking about everybody's favorite topic, which is New Year's resolutions. But instead of talking about New Year's resolutions, we're actually going to be talking about goal setting with your kids. Now, the difference between a resolution and a goal is simply having a plan. That's what really sets those two things apart. Having a resolution is nice and great thing to wish for new things for the new year, but having a goal is really taking the time to set aside steps and a plan of action, accountability, and a reward in the process. So today I'm going to show how we're doing that with our kids. We really decided that this year we wanted to focus on really teaching that skill to our kids. We've used the terminology here or there, but wanted to show you guys how we're teaching that to our kids, and hopefully you'll find it helpful. So let's get started. So before I jump into all the specifics of how we're teaching our kids goals, I want to overemphasize the idea that this is a process that can take days, months, weeks, however you want to do it. It could take hours. If you have an older child, you might be able to work through this all in one day. Although I still wouldn't recommend that, even though they might be able to understand the concepts and grasp them faster, and they may not need to go at the pace that I'm having to go with my kids. I would recommend at least taking a day or two so that they can have time to think through their goals, to process, to rewrite, and to pray through those things to make sure that they're picking things that are appropriate for them. So just wanted to put that out there. For us, we took a little over a week to work through these goals and to set these up, and just taking about 15 minutes a day, each day kind of working up through these in a formal setting, and then sort of talking about it and reworking them all throughout the day. And I want to kind of say something real fast before I continue going on with this about why I think it's important to set aside these goals. These goals do require a lot from me as a mom, from my husband, to come in and assist. I'll kind of share some of them with you and you will understand that as we go along. But they require work of us. And my husband even asked, he's like, are we sure we want to commit to whatever goals they put out there? And I think that something that's important about this is I am one person. You are one person. You have a finite amount of hours in the day. You have a finite amount of energy and time, money, resources. And as a mom, especially of large families, but even with smaller families, it can be really challenging to figure out where to allocate those resources to. And so I felt like by having goals for our kids, it kind of helped me figure out where we wanted to go as a family. So my kids throughout the year will ask, hey mom, I want to buy such and such thing. Hey mom, I want to do sports. I want to learn piano. I want to learn a language. I want to do this. I want to do that. Whatever it might be. And I'm not saying that if it's not one of their goals that we will not consider doing it. But I do want to say that I feel like this kind of helps us narrow in. So 2 of my kids had a goal that they wanted to learn cooking skills. Other ones wanted to learn cooking skills as well, but not enough to make it their actual goal. They had other things that they wanted to focus on. So that helps me to know, okay, you know what? I could be taking you all over town and doing, 50 million activities, but really your goal is you want to learn to be in the kitchen more. So I'm going to make sure I make a special effort to bring you into the kitchen and teach you these specific things. So I think that it helps us as moms. We cannot do it all, and it helps us alleviate some of that guilt and really help us to focus. I think it also helps our kids to understand what mom is doing, because I don't know about you guys, but sometimes my kids can have a tendency to say, well, but mom, you never do fill in the blank with me. And the truth is we can't do it all. And so this helps them to see too, hey, this was important to me, and mom made time, and mom took the effort to do that with me, or dad, or whoever it might be. So I want to walk you through what each of the days were that we did. And like I said, whether you do this in a shorter period of time or the same length of time, you can just sort of take them as steps. So on day 1, we sat down and just talked about what is a goal. A lot of our kids had heard the word thrown around, but weren't sure exactly what it was. Others had not heard it at all. So just kind of talking about how a goal is something that we set up for ourselves to better ourselves, to improve, to grow. And we want to set those things for ourselves. The other thing we did is to lay out categories. And we laid out 5 categories. My husband and I talked about this for a long period of time, and We wondered if we should just do 2 or 3 goals, or, let them have an unlimited amount of goals or whatever. And we decided to give them 5 and to give them 5 specific categories to work within. So first, they had to make a physical goal. This could be some kind of health hygiene type goal. Maybe it was exercising, maybe it was learning some self-care, whatever it might be, kind of fit in that physical category. Okay, the second category was mental. I wanted to find out something that they wanted to learn, that they wanted to use to grow and to expand their mind. The third thing was a financial goal. So something that they wanted to save for specifically, or if they wanted to earn so much money from a particular business idea, or whatever it might be, but to give them some kind of financial goal. Also a spiritual goal, so something to help them with their walk with the Lord. It might be memorizing a certain amount of verses, it might be memorizing books of the Bible, or learning to help read in family devotions, starting to do your own personal worship, whatever it might be, something to help them with their walk in their Lord. Also, the 5th category is just a personal goal. So that was sort of our free-for-all, that they could pick whatever was really important to them. Day 2. And now it's time to jump into making goals. But before I did that, I kind of wrote out an illustration that I will show you guys. I'll drop a link below for, but basically it's sort of a stair step. And so step 1 is to create a goal. Step 2 is to create a plan. Because like I said, the thing that differentiates a goal from anything else, from a wish, from a dream, from a New Year's resolution, whatever it might be, is having an actual plan in place. So having a plan. The next step is to get started on your plan. Start working on your goal. And then the 4th one is to keep persevering, to keep working on your goal and to keep going even when it gets tough and you want to call it quits. And the 5th one is to reach your goal. So with that 4th step, we took a little bit of time aside to say, hey, this is going to be hard. There's going to be times in different goals where you're going to want to quit. And to talk through that ahead of time, I think it helps. It doesn't throw kids off as much. It helps them understand that there might be hard times, but we talked about why we're doing this as a family. We sat down and did this all together. We could have sat down individually with each of our kids and gone over their goals, and there would have been nothing wrong with that. But I think that they need to understand that we're doing this together. We're each other's biggest cheerleaders, each other's biggest fans, and we're going to help them push to make that goal happen. Along with this, while my kids have gone through all these processes and all these steps together, and we did it separately, my husband and I did set aside time during this week, during the evenings when they were asleep, to set aside our own goals. And while we didn't share every single one of these goals with our kids, we did pick 3 or 4 goals that we thought we could share with them that would be helpful for them to hear us making our own goals. And they're going to help keep us accountable with that too. So we can offer accountability to each other, and we can also offer encouragement. And I think that's a super crucial part. So now, once we kind of talked about what to expect from our goals and how this process works, we started actually making goals. I know this sounds super slow. I know this sounds like a lot of work, and why can't we just do this all in one time and sitting down? But again, I want them to have time to think through it. I want them to have time to tweak and to change. So we sat down and we just wrote out a goal for every single kid for all 5 categories. We wrote out a goal for each one. And I didn't try to give too much input this first round. Just kind of, what do you need? I made sure it fit within the category, but I really didn't say, I don't think that that's real realistic, or, well, don't you need to make it more specific, or whatever it is. I just let it be whatever it was. We wrote those out on the board, and we just sat on it for a while. I said, okay, we're done. We're going to walk away. I want you guys to pray over this list. I want you to think about this list. I want you to think, do I really want to be doing this all year long? So one of my sons had set aside a physical goal that he wanted to wake up every morning and do 10 jumping jacks. And the other one said, I want to wake up every morning and I want to make sure I drink 8 glasses of water a day. Neither one of those are bad goals. Neither one of those are not attainable goals. I don't think that they're particularly motivating for a 9 and 8-year-old. I think that they can be a little laborious when it comes to actually keeping track of them, and that it can be sort of frustrating to them because they won't necessarily see improvement. It's just something to do every day. They're not bad goals at all, but I just kind of felt like it wasn't the best fit. But I kept my mouth shut and I let them sit on it, and they both came back to me at 2 different points in the day and said, Mom, I don't feel like this is maybe the best fit. I either feel like it might be a little too hard for me or it just doesn't feel right. So we went back to the drawing board. And so again, like I said, it's 15 minutes of this designated, we're gonna sit down and talk about goal stuff. But they were thinking about it all throughout the day. Now we're on to day 3, and we sat down and looked at those goals again. We looked over those goals and we said, okay, what do we need to change? What do we need to tweak? They had already been tweaked a little bit between day 2 and day 3, just from the kids coming to me and talking about different things they wanted to do. But then we also go through and say, okay, great, this is the goal we want to have, but let's make it a little more specific. So for instance, my daughter had on there that she wanted to learn Spanish. That's a great goal, except for the fact there's no way she's going to learn all of Spanish in a year. So we said, let's make it a little more specific. Let's go through and say, how many Spanish words would you like to learn? I landed on she wanted to learn 50 words, but not just 50 Spanish words, 50 new Spanish words. So words she had never heard before, never done before, 50 Spanish words. That is a measurable, attainable goal that we can accomplish and we can work on. My boys decided that instead of doing those previous goals that I talked about, that they wanted to tweak it and they wanted to train and run a 5K. This just so happens to be one of my physical goals for 2019, and I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be very challenging. I'm not a runner, I am not a super physically fit person, but I want to live a more physically fit lifestyle. And so this was a goal that I'd had. So they said, hey, we want to do this with mom. And I think that's great. I could use the extra accountability. It would be fun to do something with my sons. So the 3 of us together are going to train all year long to run a 5K sometime in the fall. So once we had the goals finalized, we had fixed it, we had sat on it for a while, we had tweaked and adjusted it, we decided to make our goal board. Our kids are super visual. All of us are super visual to some extent. We need a visual reminder of our goals. So I went to Walmart and got these cool half poster boards. They do have glitter on them, and if you know from my past videos, I am an anti-glitter person, but I will say these, while they're glittery, no glitter actually comes off. So just a little plug there. They were at Walmart. I think there was 5 of them for like $2. And I could have just done it with other ones, but I thought these were pretty and eye-catching. So I don't know if you can tell, but I have created 5 circles on here, and I have just labeled them with each of the 5 categories. And then each kid sat down and wrote out their goals. They drew a picture or wrote words, whatever it was, and then I kind of wrote underneath the picture something to visually help them, okay? They want to learn how to ride their bike on their own. They want to learn to memorize 6 Bible verses. They want to learn how to do a cartwheel. Whatever the thing might be. Having them sit down and write it down is really important for working towards your goal. Then these will be hung up in the room where they can visually see it and be reminded of those goals throughout the week. So that was day 3. Now on to day 4. Day 4 is when we started getting into the plan, because the plan is super, super important. I cannot emphasize this enough. But we sat down and kind of wrote out a rough plan for all 5 goals. Now, I want to be really clear with this. These 5 goals are done side by side. So we're working on multiple goals at multiple times. Other goals will be completed first or at the end or whatever, and not done in conjunction with any other goals. So, so we don't have to have the plan perfect. I'm not so worried about that. But we took 2 days. We took day 4 and day 5 to just sit through and make a plan. As far as our plan goes, I don't have any kind of cutesy printable for you or not. I'm sure there is stuff all over the internet for you. But we just kind of answered these questions on paper. What is our goal? Specifying what is our goal. When do we want to start it? For instance, my daughter, with wanting to learn a bike without training wheels, learning to ride it on her own, that's a great goal, but probably not going to be started right away as it is cold outside and wet and snowy and gross. So we probably won't start that till the spring. So when do we want to start it by? When do we want to have it finished by? So the 5K, I have no desire to run a 5K at the end of the year of next year, so we're probably going to shoot to run it late summer, early fall, something like that, when it's not quite so hot. And so that's when we want to have it completed by. So we're going to write out those dates. Now, those dates can change. They can adjust. But that's where we're going to start with to give us an idea. What are the importance or benefits of doing this goal? So for some of these, it's kind of obvious. Being able, for my daughter, like for the bike riding one, she's excited because once she gets to ride this, she can go on a family bike ride with us. But whatever it might be, these goals, I want them to understand why they're doing it. And this why is really important, especially during that fourth step when they get stuck and they get discouraged. This is what we're going to use to cheer them on. Come on, honey, don't you want to do this? You want to be able to go on a bike ride with all of us as a family. So let's do it. Let's keep working on it. So helping them have that ahead of time is really helpful. Also, along with that is what are some fears or obstacles that might get in the way? Maybe it's not wanting to wake up really early to go run. Maybe it is the fear of falling off your bike. Whatever the situation, whatever the goal is, having those things, having those obstacles, and kind of thinking through some of that. We don't need to be doom and gloom and think through everything that could go wrong, but thinking through some of those things can help us adjust our plan accordingly. What kind of resources are we gonna need? One of my other son's personal goal is that he wants to build a shelf with a drawer. Really, honestly, I'm not sure what it's for or what exactly he has in mind, but he has a very specific picture in his mind. So a couple of the resources we need to gather are materials, and he's going to need to earn money to buy the materials, and he's going to have to draw out a plan with his dad and figure out what tools he needs to collect. So we need to kind of figure out what sort of resources we need to look for. Resources can include what kind of help they're going to need from outside resources too, from mom, from dad, whatever. So we're going to kind of lay those out. We're also going to lay out a reward. What is a reward you're going to get after you finish this? This could be a natural reward. All the kids have, with their financial goals, have said that they want to save up so much money to buy a new doll or to buy a new Lego set or to buy a scooter, whatever it might be. So the natural reward to that is that they're going to get that item. Once they meet that goal, they're going to buy that toy and get to play with it. But for things that maybe aren't quite so specific, when they memorize their 5 or 6 Bible verses, whatever they set, or when they finish their, so many books or whatever it might be, maybe they're going to get a date with mom or dad. Maybe they're going to get their own library card. Whatever it might be, having them set aside those specific rewards in mind, again, will help when they get to that 4th step and really need that encouragement. And I think the one thing that I really want to instill my kids this year in particularly, plan is not working. We just need to change the plan. We don't need to change the goal. We need to change the plan. We have spent a lot of time, a lot of days thinking and talking and praying about these goals. So we know the goals are good. I've tried to help make sure I ask intelligent questions that are helping them think through their goals, but I want to also make sure that if we need to tweak or adjust the plan, we can. We can change the plan later on if we need to. We can change the deadlines, we can change the rewards, we can change the steps, however it might be. We can do that along the way without changing the goal itself. So we kind of write out a rough plan then. So when are we going to do this? Kind of run a rough timeline, whatever it might be. And that usually will take at least 2 days, if not a little more, depending on whether you're doing this with, 2 kids or 10 kids or whatever. Now you're into several days into this and sort of the last step to this, and you can decide what this will look like for you and your family. But the last step for this is creating some kind of visual to help you remember and to give you accountability. So it might be a sticker chart. It might be having a reminder on your phone. It might be asking a specific sibling or parent to help remind you, whatever it might be, but setting in those accountability things in place to track your success. So this is kind of how we're going to jump in. So Lord willing, we will be accomplishing most, if not all, of these goals. I think writing out that action plan, the other important part to that is that it helps your kids understand this is not going to be an overnight thing. They are not going to just wake up the next day and be able to do cartwheel and knock that off. Some of them are going to be a few months, some are going to be a few weeks, some are going to take all year long, maybe even more than a year. But having these things helps them kind of understand what all goes into it. And obviously, depending on the age, you may only want to tackle the plan with 1 or 2 goals. And then once they accomplish those, add a couple more. So you can kind of gauge it according to your kids and what they need. But I hope this has been helpful. I would love to update you guys. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram to see more about what my kids' goals are and to see them hopefully as they accomplish these goals all throughout the year. We'll kind of do little updates, live updates and stuff like that on those social media platforms. And I would love if you guys have liked this video to give it a thumbs up. Comment below what some of your goals are or what some of your kids' goals are this year for 2019. And I would love it if you would subscribe to our channel. I post videos every Wednesday and Saturday on making the most of the little moments in homeschooling, home management, parenting, and everything in between. I hope you guys have a great time with your goals and enjoy your 2019 year. Talk to you later. Bye.